Hello guys, welcome back. In today's video, I will be making something that people have been asking for maybe 2 weeks at this point. There's a lot of people that have been asking in the past, and now I finally want to make it. Is a pool plan for the future, updated pool plan for free-to-play new players and low spenders. Low spender means that you just buy the monthly, you don't really spend anything else, but the monthly is really good, so... If you have to spend anything in the game that is really low and is giga worth, is the monthly. But that said, I wanted to wait until Anjonala was out because so we can skip Anjonala and not talk about Anjonala, because Anjonala is part of the previous meta. While now we are going into the new meta, which is a team-oriented meta. Before and ending with Anjonala, I believe we are leaving behind this character is really strong, pick them up and you're gonna destroy everything, right? We're abandoning that. We're moving into the team-oriented meta, which means if you have every piece of this puzzle is gonna be insanely good. And always will tie back to what I've been saying for infinite time, because I think this is true for every gacha. It's better to have a bigger and more variety in your roster, bigger roster with more variety, than having one character or two characters or three characters P5 maxed out. And then you're missing this, you're missing that, you're missing that buffer, you're missing that tank, you're missing this healer, right? That becomes a cringe moment where you can't clear the game anymore because the game evolves and power creep or a different type of meta shift happen, and eventually you're gonna be cucked, because obviously if you get a like a day one character, they're not gonna hold against like year 3, right? That said, we'll begin by saying that in CN, we're checking the banners here. We'll be talking about the characters and the pool value for as a free-to-play perspective and as a new player perspective, mainly, right? Because as a free-to-play, you cannot afford to pick up every character, and as a new player, you might find bigger value on some other characters, right, compared to a veteran. So we'll tackle these two options. I'll try my best at least. Now, on the CN banner, on the CN banner history here that we're looking at, the C tab, which is this one here, is not going to be reliable on the global because we have different type of reruns. Who knows what we're getting? Sometimes it matches, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes we get a waste of characters that get put together in the same scam banner. It is what it is. GG. Now, important things to remember is that Euphoria is coming in the next patch in 2.3, and it is going to contain these characters. The biggest glow up in this roster here is going to be Sotheby, Babel, and Lilia. Mainly Sotheby and Babel, and Lilia also pretty good, though it becomes a little more relevant for the follow-up team. But now, in phase 2 of this current patch, we'll be getting Lopera. Lopera is a really good character, however, it might not be that as much value as for free-to-play veteran if you have other characters, if you have Kakania, if you have Getian, if you have Isolde, if you have 6, one or more of these, if you have, now that you picked up Anjonala, right? Maybe you have Argus as well. All of these characters, right? Do you need Lopera? Now, at first, Lopera it's still good, it's still objectively good, but Lopera is using the bullets. The bullet meta is not here yet. We were surely in the limited banner we're getting a bullet character. Igor, surely Igor Unlimited in 2.5. Yeah. We didn't get any bullet-oriented character in 2.5, which means that maybe in 2.6 we'll get it. Nobody knows. Maybe we don't know. We might never get it. But this looked like it was going to be the start of the bullet meta, because Lopera is really good. It gives you a lot of crit rate, it gives you conversion, it gives you excess crit rate converted into crit damage, it gives you incantation might and ultimate might. She gets a lot of fucking moxie. She has the domain that freezes all the bullets like Tuesday, but with the bullets. You can use the bullets when every time you do your one target attack, and you convert your bullet that you get with by yourself by channeling into bullets, buff bullets that you give to your nearby characters. She also wants to use a lot of burn stacks, so it's a little hybrid between bullet meta and burn, because this burn here doesn't make any sense compared to everything else. I mean, it does. Technically, should be a burn character, but she uses so many bullets that it feels like you would want a character, a 6-star character that uses bullets. But for example, if you were to have 20 stacks of burn, like probably going to be easy as fuck to do if you have Isolde. If the target has more than 20 stacks of burn, right on target will become crit damage increased by 100% of Lopera crit damage if you have 20 stacks, otherwise it's only 10. Now, this character is really good, but is it as good as the other characters that are coming right after that are very important for their teams? Right? That is the bigger question, because when you are free to play, let me keep it open. Okay. Let me keep it open just in case. When you're going into the next patch, you're going to have a Euphoria characters that are becoming very relevant. Sotheby for the poison team, Babel for the shielding in general, and Lilia for the either bullet team, or the follow-up attack team, which is the best option for the Lilia. She has 2 type of gameplays, but everybody's using her for follow-up. Now, in 2.3, we will be getting Willow. Now, Willow, when she came out, she was almost a must pull, because Willow is the final piece of poison. I will tell you about Willow, and then I will talk about the problem later. Now, Willow is really good. Willow is able to get more poison on the targets, bouncing poison. You get a lot of stacks everywhere on every monsters. And then you are applying this debuff called Hack's Bane, which is a debuff that makes them take more Genesis damage. And it can stack multiple times. Now, sure, all of this is great, so everybody was pulling on Willow, and me included, and now we have our almost final poison team comprised of Willow, Tuesday, and Euphoria Sotheby, which now is a big, like a complete healer. So if you don't have Sotheby, there will be a dedicated banner where you can get 100% without 50-50 Sotheby, and just select her from this banner when we'll get it, and you just pick up your Sotheby, and then you're done. Same concept with the other Euphoria characters if you were to need them for whatever reason. So with Willow, Tuesday, and Sotheby, now the poison comp is complete. Or is it? Now, when in 2.5 we are getting the limited Liang Yue and Noire, there are new information that are kind of confusing the CN players, and that's what we want to check. Soon we'll be able to check if this is a reason to skip Willow or not, because Noire here has the ability, is not a limited character, is the phase 2 of the limited patch, has the ability to converge all of everybody poison into one single target, and that target will get everybody's poison, which means that all of those poison laying around you will be able to use them and bring them all into the one target and have like 50 gazillion stacks of poison. Now, this will include every debuff, I believe, every negative, and Willow Hagsbane. CN people were theorizing that Hagsbane was not gonna be able to stack so much, because it says here it can stack up to a maximum of 10 times the Hagsbane, and the debuff can stack up to 4 times, so you can get like 160 damage taken for 1 round. So it's important to check. We don't know yet, but it's important to keep in mind to keep, try to be try to keep yourself updated with the channel, with Discord. Join Discord. We will be tagging every time something important comes out. If you want to know exactly when to pull, how to pull, okay, now boom, I got not right. So this is the problem question mark that is happening with Willow. Will Willow be able to keep with Noire? Can you replace Willow? Do you need to use Willow if you have Noire? We'll have to check this, but this is a question mark regarding Willow that it's worth mentioning, because it might imply that you don't need necessarily to pick up Willow, which might open up more more roads for the free-to-play and low spender and new players as well. Like, okay, if you have Tuesday, maybe you're not a new player today, maybe you're a newish player. You started on Tuesday because you wanted to do poison, let's say, right before Anjo, 2.1. Maybe you have Tuesday. Maybe you have Tuesday. And you're planning to get Willow, but maybe if you don't need Willow anymore, right? So it's important to know. Moving on, Flutterpage. Flutterpage is becoming it's extremely valuable. It's the core, I would say, of the follow-up meta. This is a crazy character that is going to give you 1 AP on one target attack. One skill gives you 1 AP on the next turn, which means that instead of 4 slots, you're going to have 5 in the next round. Also, if you get P1, it's going to give you that +1 for 2 rounds instead of 1. Now, she works with Gust. Gust is something that stacks multiple times. It's a little passive like Dynamo for Lucy and can stack up to 50 times. And at certain threshold, she gets bigger and bigger buffs. Now, at 5 stacks or above, she gains Paper Parade. At 15 stacks, she gets Wave of Sheets. And 25, she gets Adieu Mother Earth. Now, at 25 is what you need to get, right? So it's important because you are getting all of this. Feel free to pause and read it or go to Pridu. And we're not going to talk about like everything about the character if you want to check for yourself. But this character basically scales with like how many characters are doing actions. So which implies that every follow-up is going to benefit her Gust generation, and she's going to get buffed a lot. She's going to get a lot of Moxie, a lot of Eureka, and well, not a lot of Moxie, a lot of Eureka. And when she goes into the ultimate. Now she starts blasting everything, doing a lot of follow-up attacks. She's also adding extra damage to everybody's incantation, everybody's damage. So it's going to be very important if you want to and if you like the follow-up attack meta to pick up this character, even at P0. It's extremely important to pick up Flutterpage. So if you are interested in getting the follow-up meta up to speed, this is the core character. As well as another character coming later, Fatutu. Those two are the core characters. Now, the Poison team is now over for now. For now, it's over with Willow and Euphoria Sotheby. Now, Poison is done, and you're chilling until 2.5. Now we are going into the follow-up meta and the Impromptu Meta. Now, the Impromptu Meta is still in its infancy, in my opinion, because there is a lot of quality of life that we are missing, a little bit of scuffed gameplay mechanics. There are a lot of mechanics in game that are gimping you, that are handicapping you just because you are using this new style of gameplay, this new style of combat. And it's introduced with the character Barcarola. Barcarola is a star character that uses this impromptu incantation, which is an entity that attacks at the end of the turn after you pick up the cards that have a higher amount of inspiration. You're going to see some cards that are going to have a number on it, and this number gets put on these cards randomly by the impromptu mechanic, and it's not randomly, but still randomly, in the sense that it's going to it's going to prioritize the attack cards. If they're not enough attack cards, they're going to spill over on the other type of cards. However, that is intrinsically flawed because you don't know what is going where. So a big chunk of inspiration that you need to click and you need to cast might land on a card that is not available, or a card of a character that is stunned, or a card that you don't want to do because maybe it's a heal. Maybe you don't have enough, don't have attacks, and like a big chunk of inspiration is landing on a heal. So now you are kind of stalling because you're not doing the damage, but you needed that inspiration to get enough. And once you have like a big chunk of inspiration, at the end of the turn, this big entity is going to shoot at your enemies, and it's going to do damage. It's going to attack for a frequency of time, for a number of time, and for an X amount of damage. That scales with either the mechanic itself or Barcarola that is going to double down on this, is going to give more power to this mechanic, with her, with the quartet buff that is going to give with other allies. So you want to rush Barcarola ultimate to then get the allies into the quartet, and then once the ally gets in the quartet, you will be able to receive a buff, and then when you are doing at the start of each round, the attack is increased by inspiration, and while you are casting your incantation, you are generating more inspiration. So you want everybody to be into this quartet state, so that there will be all contributing, because if you don't do that, not all of them are going to contribute in the inspiration generation. So the next turn, you're not going to have this big numbers. You're not going to, which also makes everything falls off, snowball into dog shit, because you didn't get too much inspiration. So the next attack is going to be 10, 10, 10 once, like boom, and then, oh, I lost. Right, so this is a new mechanic for a new type of team that was not fleshed out yet. So I wouldn't really focus too much on Barcarola, in my opinion, obviously, because this is a team that is a little weird. Now, there is another core character of the Impromptu team, which is now Euphoria Voyager, and Euphoria Voyager, we can pick it up. Hopefully it's included here. Euphoria Voyager, if we go to the Euphoria, when we go to tier 4, which is max Euphoria, Galaxy of the String, which is the ultimate, will trigger orbital direction and additional damage even without the target being in confusion. Now, Galaxy on the String will also add a number of inspiration to this round improvised incantation. Now, what is orbital direction? Orbital direction is this attack will prioritize this target. When attacked by improvised incantation, this target takes additional Genesis damage. Now, all of this is enabled by her Euphoria. Before this, Voyager was kind of like forgotten, but with the Euphoria, she gets put into the improvised incantation. What you want to do is you want to have a Euphoria Voyager with max Euphoria, so you don't have to always cast the confusion status to inflict orbital direction and focus everything on the target that has orbital direction. That before you needed to do confusion, now you don't need to do it anymore. So feel free and remember to max out her Euphoria. Otherwise, it's going to be a little gimmicky. You always need to remember to do confusion to then do the ultimate on it so that they get targeted. You know, it's a little stupid. So you start seeing now that we are a little bit confusing. Getting a little bit confusing here. So this team is a little new, a little not fleshed out. So I would say that Barcarola is the first skippable character if you are planning to do the poison or the follow-up attack meta. Now, including the new Euphoria, you will have another banner that you can choose, the same thing as SOTB and the others. But the only Euphoria that will be introduced in 2.4 is going to be only these two, right? And these two are reruns. Lilia and Babel are reruns. Now, Fatutu is a god, and Fatutu is an extremely powerful character that is only working for follow-up. So, Fatutu is a crazy healer. No, it's not a healer. Has crazy healing capabilities, because even though it's basically like healing version of Kakanya, in the sense that she's going to constantly micro heal every time she retrieves the shells, and she will apply and retrieve the shells almost every turn, multiple times. And when you rebalance with the buff, you're going to be able to rebalance everybody's HP. And so if you have someone that has low HP, you can rebalance their HP, bring them up, lower everybody down so that they have the same line and they get balanced. So if you have a very healthy character and a very dead character, you do this buff and you're going to get some shells and evenly divide all allies' HP. And you can do it every time you want. Now, you will also retrieve all spirit shells. So if you have a lot of shells on the target enemy that are debuffing the enemy, and when you have the shell on the enemy, they take more damage from follow-up attacks. Now that you retrieve all of them, is going to be a big chunk of healing. And I've seen my Fatutu P0 barely built. So like level 1 I3 with like R8 or R9 or something, with like a level 50 side tube, her own, heal for like 15,000 damage, 15,000 heal for everybody, mass heal 15,000. So imagine that. It's pretty crazy. So this is the other core character. This will conclude the follow-up attack meta. In the sense of like how many core characters there are. These two, I would say, Flutterpage and Fatutu are mandatory for the follow-up attack meta. So we are now transitioning into, you can't really skip. Because if you get Fatutu only, you're going to be completely missing everything. It's going to be extreme loss of damage and of synergy. Nothing is, you're gonna get less shells, deal less damage. You're not gonna have enough characters that are going to be doing follow-up attacks. Flutterpage and Fatutu, in my opinion, are core characters of the follow-up attack team, and you really don't want to miss them. At least these two. Now, after Fatutu, the problem begins, because in 2.5 we're getting the new limited Liang Yue, which looks great in my opinion. Some people don't like her, I like her. I think she looks great, and she has a very complicated kit. If you don't know exactly what she does, you can go check my previous videos in my channel. We go over the whole kit, but the TLDR is that she does a lot of things. And you know what she does a lot? Follow-ups. Now, she technically works with a lot of teams and a lot of characters. Obviously, it's a limited. Obviously, they want to make them viable for a lot of things. So she does a lot. She's able to apply poison. She's able to apply burn. She's able to buff the rank of incantation. She's able to buff the duration of incantation or buffs anything that you cast. She's able to do follow-ups a lot, and the type of follow-up will contain an enhancement of either poison and burn, or just create like more damage. So there is a lot of that this character is doing. She's coming in 1 week. We will be covering live I will be covering live when she comes out next week on my channel on Twitch and YouTube, twitch.tv/Jakazin. If you want to know more about the character, go to Discord in the description. That said, this is a character that obviously I'm going to stress people out into picking up, because it's a limited, and when there is a limited, there is a lot of things that they're doing that you might not see right now, or you might think that it's like, I don't know. Sure, not character is a must pull, but if you were to get a character, it would be something that it's limited, because usually when you go check the limited banner and the limited kit, they're always made with the criteria in mind that they're gonna work with a lot of characters. So you can easily get Liang Yue to be part of the poison team, or to be part of the follow-up attack team. I would say follow-up is a little more oriented into follow-up, because now we can, like, Chu, for example, which is the very first limited, is kind of falling off, but it's technically a follow-up character. Now her follow-up are pretty slow, and she doesn't do that much damage on the follow-ups, so it's not something that you're going to keep there forever. So maybe Euphoria Chu, maybe. Well, I can see it, because there's no way they let a limited character fall off that hard, right? That was the very first limited. It's understandable that maybe they didn't foresee what the game was going to become in the future. So they did like the multiplier weren't that crazy, because at the time she was insane at the time. So now maybe she needs a little bit of a glow up, you know, a little bit of a little more makeup. Now, this character is pretty crazy. She does a bunch of things, like a lot of things at the same time. You're gonna have like color domains in your hand, like left and right, depending on which cards are you casting inside the different colors. They're going to be buffed in different ways. You're going to give the color combo on your tiger that you summon, and the tiger is going to do follow-up attacks that are going to either deal a fuck ton of damage or apply multiple stacks of burn and poison. We don't know the numbers yet. Okay, we don't know the number yet, but it's a crazy character that I would say keep an eye on and potentially pull if you have enough leftovers. But the fact that Fatutu is right before, it might fuck you up, so be careful. Maybe just choose one team, either poison or follow-up, or the play of the century would be to not pick up Willow, not pick up Lopera, save all of you can, pick up Flutterpage and Fatutu, pick up the limited and Noire, and hope that Noire is enough to make Poison insane, thanks to her converging everything into one character, is really important. So keep that in mind. She might be able to do enough to the point where you don't need Willow anymore, because Willow is still, yes, it's good, she applies a lot of poison, but you could technically skip her because all you need is Tuesday and Sotheby. So keep that in mind. Other option, you know, the hamster on the wheel in our brain is starting to spin now, starting to book it. Now, the Noire is the second character in the 2.5. She's really, really good. And she's really interesting because she applies a lot of things. Not only she's able to converge every poison into one, she's also applying rigidity at 2 stacks, I believe. It's a very old mechanic, but it should become petrify. When people attack her, when people attack Noire, they go like, whoa, rude. What the fuck? And they get frozen after a while. They get petrified after 2 attacks. I think rigidity, two rigidity becomes 1 petrification. So, you know, we're getting a little bit of CCs. We're getting a little bit of those back. Okay, pretty good, pretty good. There's also more mechanics that I'm not going to explain here because we are just talking about pulling the character or not. If you want to know more about the character, go check the video that we made. I don't know why we're talking in plural. It's just me that I made in my channel. And there's the kit on Discord if you want to read it yourself, on my Discord, obviously. So, long story short, to go back and do a TLDR, obviously, Lopera, now skippable because we don't know if we're getting a bullet meta. Euphoria, I highly suggest you pick up Babel, or you do the Euphoria for Babel. And to do Euphoria, you need to do the new mode, Reverie. And if you don't have this character, you should be picking up both Babel and Sotheby. Mainly Sotheby if you're going for poison. Otherwise, just Babel. And Willow could be a great addition, but Monka asks, what about Noire though? I wonder if Noire is good. We don't know yet, so maybe we'll know, but by the time Willow is up in global, we'll know about Noire, so don't worry about it too much. Maybe I'll do a follow-up for only these 2 characters together. So we'll tackle that. And then, so these 2 potential skips, and then you go and you pull Flutterpage for the follow-up attack team. You ignore the Impromptu because the Impromptu incantation is not ready yet, it's not fleshed out yet, and then you pick up Fatutu, Liang Yue, and Noire. If you're going for both teams. Otherwise, you just pick Liang Yue and Noire, you wait for the rerun or something. Or if you pick up Willow and it's not that big of a deal, Noire being doing this, it's not that big of a deal, it ends up not being that big of a deal, then maybe you just pick up Willow and you skip Noire, or vice versa. Well, I'll make a follow-up video about that. But long story short, now we know what is happening. It's very important for you to choose as free-to-play what do you want to do. Do you want to do poison? Then go Willow or Noire and pick up Sotheby. You don't want to do poison, you don't give a fuck, maybe you're new, you don't have Tuesday, and you don't care about worrying about those, sure, then do follow-up with Flutterpage and Fatutu. And then maybe you get lucky, maybe you get leftovers, and with those leftovers, you go get Liang Yue. That's it. So, thank you for watching. Let me know in the comments what is happening, if you have any other questions, if you have any other plans that you're going to do, if you have any even more questions. You can come to my stream at twitch.tv/Jakazin or on my Discord linked in description. Otherwise, just leave a comment, okay? So thank you for watching and see you next time.